a goal.
After the goal comes the uproar. It's sports on 32 FM 94.9.
It's a lovely afternoon. Thank God it's Friday, the 31st day in the 10th month of the year 2025. The program is Scoreboard Reloaded right here on the dial that fills the air with laughter. 32 FM 94.9. You are listening to the voice of Oluwatimileni SAMIES. I have Dolapo with me in the studio. Yes, we are not really going to stress on Nigerian football stories today because it's the build-up to what we expect over the course of the weekend, starting from today in Europe top 5 leagues. But when we talk about the games that are set to go down, you know that there are heavyweight fixtures. Chelsea against Tottenham Hotspur, one of those heavyweight fixtures. You talk about AS Roma against AC Milan as well, one of those heavyweight fixtures. And then, for the last 2 years, Bayer Leverkusen, I think they gave Bayern Munich a run for their money there in German football, winning the German Bundesliga title without a defeat. I'm not even sure Bayern Munich achieved that feat there in German football. But you tell that this weekend also, this side said they go head-to-head. Remember that Bayer Leverkusen, they didn't start the season so well, but they have tried to get themselves back on the feet. And they are getting the solid result at this point in time. But this weekend is going to be against a flawless Bayern Munich side, whom of course have been victorious in all their games thus far in the 2025-2026 football season. On the Nigerian scene, there are games set to go down also on the Nigeria Premier Football League. But then, there are no Formula One races this weekend, but we know that the month of November promises to give us that 3 Formula One races, the Brazilian Grand Prix, the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and also the Qatar Grand Prix before the month of December, where we would have the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Well, of course, we expect, or we don't know who the winner would be, but we expect a winner that's later in that month. We have Cameron Norrie with 357 points, Oscar Piastri 356 points, and Max Verstappen with 321 points. Just at 6 points adrift the first and third. So in the 4 races are set to go, is the Max Verstappen going to come out on top? And in the interesting world of basketball, you talk about one man, Victor Wembanyama. Well, you talk about this guy himself. He's the tallest in the NBA. But you also say that he has helped the San Antonio Spurs reach a franchise milestone, dropping a team high 26 points with 18 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. As the San Antonio Spurs are pulled to their first 5-0 start in the club's history by the way of a 107-101 victory over the Miami Heat. When I say 5-0, it means that the 5 games that they've played this season, they've actually been victorious in all 5 games. Well, such a great feat for the San Antonio Spurs. And also, we just take a look at the result of games that went down in the early hours of today there in the world of basketball. And for those results, well, you tell that in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs, like we mentioned, defeated the Miami Heat 107-101. And the Oklahoma City Thunder has got the better of the Washington Wizards 127-108. The Orlando Magic got the better of the Charlotte Hornets 127-107. And the Milwaukee Bucks defeated the GSWs, the Golden State Warriors 120-110. And games are set to go down in the early hours of tomorrow. Well, we would have Philadelphia 76ers against the Boston Celtics. The Indiana Pacers will be up against the That's Atlanta Hawks, the Cleveland Cavaliers against Toronto Raptors, Milwaukee Bucks against the New York Knicks, Memphis Grizzlies against the LA Lakers, San Antonio Spurs, no, the Phoenix Suns rather, will be up against the Utah Jazz, and then the Portland Trail Blazers against the Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers against New Orleans Pelicans, and the Milwaukee Bucks will be up against the Sacramento Kings, while the Charlotte Hornets will be up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. All of these games are set to go down tomorrow. That's in the world of basketball. But on the show this lovely afternoon, well, you know how we do it. A bit up to what we expect in European football. Where we talk about the games are set to go down. That's in European football for this weekend. And for this weekend, the action definitely is in Germany, is in Spain, and is in Netherlands. While in Germany, Augsburg will be up against Borussia Dortmund. In Netherlands, it will be PSV against Fortuna Sittard. And in Spain, Getafe will be up against Girona. So all of these things we take a look at. And in English football, just like, you know, the most televised league in the world of football. And, you know, you join our partners tomorrow, the BBC on the pitch. We are definitely there. We'll run through the fixtures or the commentary for the games that's set to go down by 4 p.m. tomorrow. You know, there has been a change in time also, and the fixtures in England start by 4 p.m. But then, you know, for one man, Ruben Amorim, well, the next month, in the month of November, in which we are going to clock tomorrow, it will be his first year as a manager of Manchester United. We listen to his words reflecting on what the last 365 days or 364 days has been like for him at the thrones of Manchester United. And then we also talk about managers Scott Parker, Mikel Arteta, where of course both sides go head-to-head later this weekend. That's Burnley against the Arsenal Football Club. And then we also listen to the words of Enzo Maresca, where he's talking about his tactical insights into the use of Moises Caicedo, Romelu Lavia, Garnacho, and Gittens. We also take a listen to his words. And then Ruben Amorim, like we mentioned, and Slot also is in the news. Contract extension for him in his turbulent season with Liverpool Football Club. Of their last 7 games, it has been 6 defeats, and their only victory came against that was the opponent in the UEFA Champions League. And then we see how can they get out of this pit in which they are in at this point in time. Once again, I say good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the program Scoreboard Reloaded, right on 32 FM 94.9. Good afternoon, Dolapo.
Good afternoon, SAMIES. Good afternoon to everyone who has joined us on the show this afternoon.
Well, all right. Just as you listen to the words of Dolapo, let's listen to the words of so many managers, where of course they go head-to-head later this weekend. First, with Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Well, they have been described as a club side that would definitely get their goal from set piece. But over the course of the week, in their Carabao Cup game, round of 16 against Brighton and Hove Albion at the Emirates Stadium, 2-0. The one goes from Ethan Nwaneri and Bukayo Saka. Well, now for Arsenal to book their passage into the next round, which is the quarterfinals, where they'll be playing against Crystal Palace. And they scored no set-piece goal in that game. But for Scott Parker, manager of Burnley Football Club, he has a different idea, different philosophy and thinking as regards to what people think of Arsenal Football Club being a set-piece club. Let's take a listen to the words of Scott Parker.
What do you make of the wider discussion about the way that Arsenal are doing it? Very structured, very reliant on being defensively sound. They've incurred a little bit of criticism for perhaps not being as expansive as others might want them to be, but they're doing it in a very kind of particular, defined way, isn't it, stylistically?
I'm not sure I see it like that. When I'm watching them, to be honest with you, I see a fluid team, really. I see an unbelievably well-coached team, a team that solves situations, and of course there's a large element, or not a large element, there's one of many elements. I wouldn't say this is definitely not a team that just rely on set plays. Now, obviously, over the course of the last start of this season, there's been key moments where they've got wins from set plays. This is a well-oiled team and a functional team that are very fluid in the way they play, really. And defensively, like you say, is really a foundation. It was probably something we lived by last year, really gives you a bedrock. And they've certainly formed that. But yeah, for me, like I said, this is a top team and a well-coached team.
All right, today listen to the words of Scott Parker at Dolapo. Well, for Arsenal Football Club, a lot of statistics has been put into their performance this season. And also in history of English football, they were the first side, or they became the first side to play 6 games without a defeat and also without conceding a goal in the month of October.
What a month for Mikel Arteta and the boys, and for the way they play, and for everybody who call them a set-piece team. First off, just like Scott Parker says, it's part of the game, it's part of football on set-piece. Because when you want to compare them to teams like Stoke City, where many people have compared, played this team out of the ball. How many? If you want to check the possession, you want to check the stats, it's only Manchester played Arsenal that possessed them. Since then, every of the team they are playing are sitting back. Even Pep Guardiola had to make Erling Haaland play as a left side central back against them. They're playing defensively. That is Pep Guardiola, who we all know to play attacking football. So many teams in the Premier League comes out to play against this team attacking defensively. They play low block. And when you can't break down the low block, you have to find a way to win football games. And that is what Arsenal is doing. It's part of the game. If any team is free enough, or any team has the mind enough to come out against this team in the Premier League, I feel like Arsenal would score 4-5 goals every week if every team is coming out. We saw what they did in the UEFA Champions League last season when teams like PSV came out against them. 7-1 away from home. This season, we've seen Atletico Madrid came out to play against them. Even at some points in that game, they were defensive. They came out to play against them and they conceded 4 goals. So if you come out to play against Arsenal, you get beaten. They will score you. They will outscore you big time. So many teams are feeling like this team is inferior. Let's sit at the back and play against them this way. And if you are sitting on the back, they have to find a way to win because they want to win the league. And if they are not winning, if they are not scoring goals, it is this same media that comes out against them and say they've signed a whole lot of players and they're not scoring goals. So I don't know where the narrative of scoring set piece is coming from. They've scored most of their goals this season from set piece. And I look at it, most of these goals are not directly from set piece. You look at the Martin Zubimendi's goal against Nottingham Forest, they count that as a set piece after the ball have been headed out. Ball is already going into another direction before he shoot the ball. Goals like that have been Mikel Merino's goal against Newcastle United as well. So goals like that are also count as part of the goals they count as their set piece goals. So I think it is just all about agenda. The media wanting an agenda to agenda, and that is just all that is happening here.
Well, you mentioned about Arsenal wanting to win the title. Like a banner that was raised there at the Anfield Stadium, that was last season, always the bride. For the last 3 seasons now, we've seen Arsenal finish second in the English Premier League. The 2023-24, we'll start from the 2022-23, 23-24, 24-25 season. They finished second to Manchester City twice and also to Liverpool in the English Premier League. And could this be their season of winning the English Premier League? Let's take a listen to the words of Mikel Arteta speaking on the multiple factors needed to go their way, or needing Arsenal to actually go their way in order for them to win the English Premier League title. The words of Mikel Arteta.
After finishing second for 3 years, it would be easy maybe to think there's a ceiling, we're never going to get there, but they seem to have been able to kick on past that. How have you done that?
Because at the end you learn that the margins at the end to achieve it or not are multiple. So it can be that an opposition plays 1-against-1 against the keeper, he scores that goal, you are champion. The other keeper saves it, you are not champion. It can be other injuries, it can be other decisions, it can be a mistake of mine, it can be that many factors that we cannot control that outcome. What we can control is what we can do the best, that's it.
Talking about Son.
I'm talking about a lot of things I can.
He's the one you're thinking of, though.
So it's a lot of factors that has to go your way. You can do a lot of great things, and still a lot of things have to go your way. And the injuries and the plays that you have to play, and they have to be there, and the personal lives have to be perfect, because if not, it can unbalance. It's so many things, guys, and it's still so long, and we've seen already the turnaround in the league, and you go to the Champions League is the same, other league is the same. We are in a really specific context at the moment, and let's focus day by day.
They listen to Mikel Arteta, they need to focus day by day. And that was just a great insight into what happened 2023-2024 season. That outstanding game Manchester City had there at the Tottenham Stadium. One-on-one, with Stephen Ortega. But Stephen Ortega was the hero of the day. while Son, well, I think the rest
was
is
not the villain because Sports fans were happy with that. They were very happy he didn't convert that. Well, I think for us now, this season probably might just be the season for them because when you look at it over the last 3 years, some little details have went against them. I keep on saying it. Last season, Arsenal were not competing for the title. At this point last season, before the November international break, they were 9 points behind Liverpool, and not for a week did they sit on top of the table last season. So 2 seasons ago, when they lost the league, 1 point to Pep Guardiola's City, that was the last time I can say, okay, they went on and chased for the title. And some little details went against them, just like Arteta said. But for this season, they've started the season very well. At the moment, they are 6 points ahead of Manchester City, 7 ahead of the Premier League champion Liverpool. And it's not looking like Arsenal wants to drop points, even though I kind of had the feeling they would still drop points. But the major thing that is there is when they start dropping the points, the chasing packs, the Liverpool Cities of this world, would they be able to capitalize? Would they be able to win their games? At the moment, it does not look that way. City is struggling. Liverpool at the same time, they are struggling too. So if when the time comes when Arsenal starts to drop points, almost like Liverpool last season, when Liverpool started dropping points last season, nobody was capitalizing. At the time Liverpool were dropping points, Arsenal was dropping points too. Manchester City was dropping points. So that is what it is looking like now. So Arsenal just needs to keep on getting the points. They should have it at the back of their mind. The time would come when they would lose points. But I don't think the chasing packs, the DC Liverpools of this world, have what it takes to challenge for the title this season, especially with the way they've started the season. But then it's football. Anything can happen. Some weeks ago, we were here talking about Ruben Amorim struggling at Manchester United. And 3 weeks down here, it has changed. So anything can happen in the game of football.
changed.
Yeah.
3 games.
3
in a
games,
row.
3 wins.
And that's for Manchester United. And also now we'll take a listen to the words of Ruben Amorim, where of course he was appointed the manager of Manchester United November 1st. His first game was on November 11th. That was after the international break last year. But we'll take a listen to him, also reflecting on his time at the Old Trafford. The words of Ruben Amorim.
Was a journey. Was a big journey.
Sorry, I think it would be difficult to
Was tough. Was a big journey. Was tough. Was really tough. Good moments, bad moments. I learned a lot. That is really important. I found out that even in my lower moments, I can stick with the things that I believe, and that is a good thing to for anyone to understand that. Today, the answer is different from 3 weeks ago. So it's important to understand that. So it's one of the biggest honors for many years. Was a journey. Many years. Was a journey.
All right, today listen to the words of Ruben Amorim, reflecting on what would be his first year at Manchester United. In his lowest, he thinks he can still keep on to what he believes in. 3 at the back. But it's a good thing since he got the job, almost a year. This is consecutive victories in the English Premier League, and that started with the game against Sunderland, and they went to the Anfield. They defeated Liverpool and also Brighton and Hove Albion there at the that's you say about Ruben Amorim's first year in charge as manager of Manchester United. First, he lost UEFA Europa League to Tottenham Hotspur. This season, he has been dumped out of the Carabao Cup by Grimsby.
Well, I think there have been ups and downs for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. And one thing, I'm not very sure if I like it about him, but one thing is he kept on to what he believed in, even when everybody felt like he should change it. It's 3-4-3 system. He said nothing would change it. He would stay there and he would keep on using what he knows how to use best. And at the moment, he's getting the results. Who knows how long it will go? Will they continue getting the results? I don't know. But at the moment, it's looking good. Winning 3 games in a row. And Manchester United have finished 15th last season. Yeah, lost the UEFA Europa League, is out of the Carabao Cup. But I feel like it's just like the owner said, the minority owner, I would like to call him, Sergeant Matthew said, they want to give him time. They are starting to build a momentum. I don't know if this will continue going this way, but if they can go 4 Premier League games in a row, winning games, and with the way every other big side are performing, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, the way they are performing, it might just get something good this season, and that will just change everything. I remembered very well at a point in time at Arsenal, Mikel Arteta was also struggling, although Arteta was never like this. That tenure was different. He lost his first 3 games in charge as the Arsenal at the start of the season, at the start of a particular season.
He had just 1 victory in 13 games.
Yeah, so no, that was not Arteta. That was Unai Emery.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he lost 3 games in a season. At the start of the season, I think it was Chelsea, Manchester City 5-0, and Brentford. That was the season Brentford came into the season.
There was a point in the season, not the start of the season, maybe mid-season.
One game in 13 games.
Yes, and that victory came against Manchester United.
No, that was
1-0.
that was not under Mikel Arteta. I saw the pictures too. That was not under Mikel Arteta.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm very sure that was not under Mikel Arteta. So he had the bad run during his tenure. There were times when he was almost qualifying for the UEFA Champions League, and then he lost games to Newcastle United, losing 3 games in a row, different times during the season. But then he changed everything. It's looking like now Mbeumo is in form. Matheus Cunha also got his first goal. Can build on from that. So I think if I would rate it, I'll put it on the 30/100%. But then it is just the stats.
Just to start for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, where of course he will be eyeing his 2nd season and open to being out of the Carabao Cup. That's the FA Cup to fight for amidst qualification for European football for next season. But how would that be for Man? They are not in the top 2, 6th, behind the Manchester City on goal difference. 1 goal difference
for a team that finished
for Manchester
15th.
United.
Bad.
Well, it's like you said, it's still the early days for Manchester United. Let's see how it goes. But talking about the biggest fish in the room, Liverpool Football Club and Slot. Well, this man says he's not happy with Liverpool squad. Let's take a listen to what he has to say about the Liverpool Football Club.
I'm completely happy with the team, with all the quality we have. And I'm also completely convinced by the strategy and the policy we have. The thing that gives me the most confidence is the quality of the players we are having. So, the amount of chances these players are eventually always lead to these players scoring more goals than we've done till now. And we have to address certain other things. But yeah, if I talk about that, if I'm speaking about what we have to improve, people then tell me I'm using excuses. So maybe it's better now just to say we need to address certain things.